Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Riot Act. When I was in the Navy at a joint command, management decided I needed to go into more detail on one of my regular reports. This directive came from my chief, who said it was coming from the division officer. Apologies in advance. Those were the exact words. So I took what was normally a one-page report and turned it into a 40-page report. Yes, I complied with orders. Yes, I did exactly what I was told. The very next day, my chief called me into his office. He said, by directive from our superiors, I'm required to, quote, read you the Riot Act. Then he turned a piece of paper over on his desk that had only 3 words written on it. The Riot Act. He read those 3 words aloud, handed me a pen, and had me sign at the bottom to acknowledge that I had read the Riot Act. Turns out I wasn't the only one who found the original order a bit excessive. Later we received clarification on exactly what details the officer wanted in the report. Turns out there was a legitimate reason behind the request, but the officer failed to communicate that reason clearly. Oops. The next story is called Petty Customer. I own and operate a residential and light commercial HVAC contracting company. A customer, let's call him Tom, reached out to us about a residential breakdown. Tom mentioned he had a home warranty. We explained that home warranty companies often have repayment policies that don't align with our billing rates, and that he would still be personally responsible for the full amount of the bill, no matter what the warranty company paid. The repair was relatively small, costing $228. It's worth noting that home warranty companies are notorious for being stingy with payments, if they pay at all. That's why we don't work with them directly. As expected, the home warranty company only covered $153 of the invoice, leaving a balance of $75. Tom wasn't thrilled about having to cover the remaining amount, so he decided to pay us $1 per week through his bank's online check payment system. Neither I nor my bookkeeper were particularly excited about this arrangement. Processing a $1 check takes just as much time as a large check, but we decided to roll with it. Fast forward 76 weeks, and Tom had accidentally overpaid us by $1. Instead of letting it go, he placed a stop payment on that final $1 check. Out of curiosity, I looked up his bank's stop payment policy and discovered that he likely paid $35 to cancel that check. I have to admit, I can't help but respect that level of dedication to being petty. The last story is called New Signature. When I moved back to the US to start a new job at a big firm, part of my responsibilities included some executive assistant tasks. My boss often sent me to the local bank downstairs to deposit or withdraw cash. Since I needed to set up a bank account for direct deposit, I thought it made sense to open one at that same bank. It would make everything more convenient. The day I went to open my account, the bank manager sat me down to complete the paperwork. She was friendly, and the process went smoothly, until we got to the signature portion. Feeling a bit playful, I decided to make my signature something fun and unique. I had recently watched a documentary on Roman history, so I signed my name as name plus the grade. The manager didn't seem to notice or comment on it at the time, and everything was processed without issue. A little while later, I got a call from her, saying there was a problem with the paperwork. She explained that I couldn't use a signature like that, and needed to come back to redo it with my actual name. I agreed and told her I'd be down shortly. That phone call didn't sit well with me. I knew people often used abstract or scribbled signatures that didn't resemble names at all, so why couldn't I use mine? A bit of research showed me that, legally, A signature can be any consistent mark I choose. It doesn't even have to be letters. Armed with that information, I printed out the relevant laws and headed back to the bank. When I got there, I explained that I wanted to keep my signature as it was and handed over the legal documents I had found. The manager was less than thrilled. She stepped away to consult with her superiors and returned saying that while I was correct about the law, their policy required the signature to match the one on my driver's license. Cue my plan. I realized I needed to update my driver's license anyway, since I had recently moved to a different state. A few days later, I went to the DMV, prepared to make this official. When it was time to provide my signature for the license, I once again wrote name, the grade. The DMV staff initially resisted, saying something like, "We don't play games here." But I showed them the same legal documentation, and after some back and forth, they relented. I walked out of the DMV with a brand new license bearing my unique signature. I drove straight back to the bank and met with the same manager. I told her I was ready to sign the paperwork, as long as it matched the signature on my ID. She looked quite pleased, until I signed name the grade. Her reaction was priceless, and she quickly escalated the situation, even threatening to have me escorted out. That's when I calmly slid my updated driver's license across the desk. Her expression went blank. She asked me to step out while she made a call. About 10 minutes later, she returned and informed me that, although my signature matched my license, the bank was choosing not to do business with me. Not wanting to argue, I accepted the decision and returned to the office. When I told my boss what had happened, he found the whole story hilarious. He said he'd take care of it. Later that day, the bank called to let me know my accounts had been opened. Turns out my boss had a productive conversation with the manager. He reminded them of how much business his company brought to the bank and hinted that if they didn't accommodate me, he'd take his business elsewhere. That seemed to do the trick. In the end, I won. I still use it as my signature on all official documents. It's silly, but it's my little trophy and a fantastic conversation starter. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.